To beat one of the best defences, sometimes you have to play risky. When you sacrifice a rook like this, it makes you want to keep playing chess. Rook f6 looks gorgeous to me. Rook f6 it is. The Nimzo-Indian is one of the best defences, but how do you beat it? With white, we have Jorden Van Foreest. With black, we have Giri, two of the best players from Holland. In part 2, I will be playing various levels on Lee Chess. However, part 1, we will be going through this incredible game. Once you learn a new setup, you've got to apply it straight away in a blitz game. And that is exactly what I'm doing in this video. The important question is, how will this video be useful for you? Well, with the white pieces, you're going to learn a very risky way to play against the Nimzo. It is a very dynamic way to play. I was inspired by this, that's why I wanted to try out this setup with white. Welcome to a chess opening experiment. These types of videos are all about taking a new idea, analysing a top game, and then applying it straight away in a few My Blitz games. Jorden Van Foreest against Giri. We have d4, knight f6, and then we have the Nimzo-Indian, one of the best defences for black. There are a few popular ways to reply. Queen c2 to defend the knight. e3, get the bishop out. Knight f3. Today, Jorden plays a3. This is known as the same-ish variation, as you can see. A pink circle has been shown. This is the interesting symbol. Now, why is this an interesting option? Because you're just inviting black to take the knight on c3 anyway. Take. This is the problem with this system. But the problem is also the solution. With this type of structure, already there's some imbalance and white can fight for an advantage. We are definitely going to get an interesting game. Both sides start with 1 hour 40 minutes on the clock. A few options for black. You can strike in the center, or you can play b6. The bishop now comes out. f3, Jorden wants to build a big center. Anish plays the knight to the side. Typical against the same-ish, because white has weak doubled pawns here. You've got to attack your opponent's weakness. e4. Beautiful central control. Look at this. 3 pawns in the center. We are in for a fight. Knight a5, attack the pawn, bishop out, and bishop a6. Typical. Knight and bishop go to the side, attacking the c4 pawn. If only this pawn was back on b2, then you can defend it, but that's not what the same-ish is. You risk a damaging to your structure for an interesting game. Queen e2, got to defend it. And now d6, getting central dark control. Dark square control, I mean. f4, that's what I love about this game. f3, you played f3 on move 6, it is now move 10, f4 played. Look at this. Just control. A lot of control by white on the 5th rank. Queen d7. And the point of this is to go queen a4. Typical. Not only are the knight and the bishop on the edge, but so the queen. So is the queen, attacking the c4 pawn. You've got to defend it with knight d2. White is ready to push with e5. So in order to stop your opponent playing the move, you play it yourself. e5 played by Giri. Castle. You definitely do not want to capture this way. Take. Because you just have awful pawn structure. Knight d7, you plan to get it back straight away. Even the knight can come to c5 as well. So Jorden holds off for a move before capturing. Castle first. Ready to open up the f-file. Black also castles. Maybe a better move would be knight d7, just not to allow your opponent to come in. It just feels so risky here after castle. Take, the f-file opens up. Jorden now plays rook b1. I'm not too sure why. Now I have one reason, is because you can see the knight might come into b3. But I don't really understand rook b1. That's the only point. Maybe to kick the queen away with rook b4. Giri attacks the center, forcing a decision. Now, if a decision is made, then you can reroute the knight. And the knight actually belongs on d6. It's a very good way to play. A blockading strategy. You put your knight in front of your opponent's passed pawn. This is a target throughout the game. But Jorden doesn't have to play d5. He crashes through in style with rook takes f6. Move 16, and he's crashing through. Now, why does Jorden give up a rook for a knight? Let's see. It's because all the dark squares around the king exposed. You have a bishop. If that bishop can get in on a dark square, then the game is yours. Queen f3, drop it back, hit the queen, and now knight f1. So let's discuss. You still have a couple of pieces on the edge. You got a protected pass pawn. The knight has moved backwards in order to get the bishop in the game. Not only that, this knight can come into f5 a couple of ways. King out the way, and now knight e3 coming into f5. Just want to talk about this. If you play bishop takes c4, which looks like a sensible move, you might be asking, because that's the point of black's entire strategy. You set up your pieces, you put them on the edge in order to take on c4. This completely loses to knight e3, giving up the bishop but winning the king. Knight f5, you threaten checkmate. Queen g3, queen g7 cannot be stopped, and also you lose the queen. So even though black has spent time going after the c4 pawn, he cannot even pick it up. Amazing. Knight f1, beautiful retreating move. You go back to go forward. King out the way, knight e3. Knight f5, so dangerous. Giri has to retreat the bishop. Now, the dark squared bishop. The bishop your opponent doesn't have comes in the game. Rook g8, bishop e1, bishop h4, beautiful journey. d2, e1, h4, hitting f6, always going to be a target. This bishop is better than this rook. Not only is it not in the game, but the bishop is has the potential to control lots of dark squares. Rook h6, hit the bishop, but very calm move. Queen drops back. Bishop d7, rook f1, putting pressure on f6. King g7. Blunder, I mean, in my opinion, that's such a strong suggestion from Lee Chess. Blunder, hey, well, I mean, it's just so difficult for black to move. Bishop e2, that's a clever move from Jorden to restrict the rook. The bishop isn't actually well placed here, except for defending the pawn, but the knight defends it anyway. So it's time to use this bishop in a different way, restricting your opponent's rook. It goes to g6 and h3. This is such a clever move from Jorden, baiting Anish to come and take the pawn on h3, and he falls for it. But it's just so difficult to move. You play a move like rook g8, you may be thinking, what's the point of h3? It's to go bishop g4. Take. Knight, bishop, rook, queen. All four pieces are attacking black's weakest spot, and you're going to crash through, and it's just so difficult for black to move. h3 is a wonderful move from Jorden. Let's go back. Here, Giri takes the bishop, but when this capture happens, bishop h5 now attacks the rook, and you may be thinking, well, so what? You go rook h6, now take. Queen, king, get forked. Knight f5, check. You've got to give up the rook. Take, and that is crashing through. This bishop, d2, e1, h4, coming in. That knight has been there since move 10. Beautiful idea from Jorden. Let's go back. h3, take, hit the rook, and Giri retreats the bishop. Take. Now, white isn't even down any material. That's how well Jorden has played in this game. He crashes through. The entire point, all this maneuver to crash through on f6. Queen h4. Beautiful control among all the dark squares. This knight has been restricted the entire game. Rook f8. Bishop e7 would be nice, but then you get this capture. So, you don't want to trade rooks yet. Jorden maintains the pressure with rook f3. Now bishop e7 wins, so rook f7. Queen g5 coming in on a dark square. I mean, you compare the bishops, that is controlling a lot of light squares, but it's really an empty bishop. That's just something I call it, where even though your opponent controls lots of squares of its color, they are all useless. Queen back, and queen takes e5. Knight back to b7. We spoke about this idea before, where if a knight is placed on d6, stopping a pass pawn, that can be a good strategy. But too little, too late. I mean, big deal. You get the knight there. It's just going to get run over by the pawns. Drop the queen back, e5, 2 pawns, charging down the middle. Knight e8, d6. Not e6, rook f6. No. So d6 played by Jorden, take. And look at this. This is the funny thing. This bishop controls lots of dark squares. But what does Jorden do? He replaces it with a couple of pawns. They continue to control dark squares in the black position. d6, take. Controlling e7, g7. This king is restricted. Queen e8, knight d5, coming into e7. I mean, Jorden has played a wonderful game. Queen check, big deal. King goes to h2. There's no check from the queen. Queen d1, thrown a knight e7 check, king in the corner, and rook h3. Absolutely brilliant move. I couldn't believe this when I first saw it. This is the winning move from Jorden. How flashy is this? And the amazing thing is, in this game, Jorden has sacrificed his rook twice. Rook for knight, and now rook for bishop. The amazing thing here is Giri resigned. Now why? Oh, by the way, if you don't take the rook, knight g6 check is threatened. So what happens if you grab the rook? You don't recapture? No way. You don't have time. d7 wins on the spot. The queen comes into b8. There's no good way to stop it. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Yeah, I'm just trying to think what's wrong with rook f8. I think I've seen it actually. Knight check. Yeah, that's it. Brilliant. Yes, that's a variation. Check. And then we're in on the dark square. Beautiful. If we go back 3 moves here, check. If you move the king, well, you just take the rook. And then here you can take back. You can even come in with a check. Probably just come in with a check, yeah. And get a queen. Why not? Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful sequence. Just going back a few moves. Have we spotted everything? Bishop takes, rook, d7. If you take the pawn, the queen comes in, and there's no good way to block along the back. So you've got to give up your queen. That's mate. Nope. Give up your queen, and knight on e7 does the final job. Absolutely beautiful, crushing victory from Jorden. I love the creative play from Jorden in this game. I mean, it all began with this move where you get this huge center. Is it risky? Yes, because black just plays the normal moves of getting all your pieces to attack the c4 pawn. If that pawn drops, you're in trouble. But Jorden defends, then finds a way to open up the f-file, finds a way to crash through in style with this absolutely beautiful rook takes f6. Please bear this move in mind when we check out a couple of the games that I play against Stockfish Level 2, Level 5 on Lee Chess. That's really the important thing here. Once I go through a game, it's very important to apply the idea straight away, or else I think I'm just lying to myself. I go through a game, big deal, I've forgotten the game. By tomorrow, I haven't actually changed as a player. I haven't learnt a new setup because I haven't applied it in any game. So yeah, check this rook takes f6 move out in the second game coming up. Dark square control, we come in, hit the queen, drop the knight back, beautiful move, we're coming in, Giri stops it, here we go, the beautiful maneuver. This is the winning maneuver. And here we go, crashing in through bishop e2, just a bit of class, h3, class, baiting him, and then we crash through in style. Dark square domination, absolutely beautiful. Push, push, take, pawns come in, and then we saw this already. But yeah, just a quick review. Rook h3, beautiful move in, and mate on the back. Absolutely gorgeous from Van Foreest. Now what? I've gone through the game. Time to apply it in a few blitz games. In order to have a go into Lee Chess, play with the computer button on the right. Click on it. Normally it says from standard. I've chosen 3 minutes plus 3 seconds per move. Now click from position. Click on it, and then we can set up our own position. Quickly flicking in the moves from the Van Foreest Giri game. This is how you can train yourself. We had the same-ish take. We had this here and then here, and now you click the continue from here button on the right. Play with the computer, and then you get this set up, and then now because I want this from the white side, I'll click The king, when I did this myself, I went from level 1 up to level 7. The 2 best games were level 2 and level 5. So if I click 5 right now, and then click on the white timer, now you can see it. And then you're just going to see this in action. So you can all try this yourself. So they're still playing bishop a6. Okay, bishop here. Now queen e2. Because got to go for this. This is what Jorden Van Foreest did today against Giri. That's why we do it. Right. The level 2 is a bit passive, and now we get a big attack. Let's get the bishop in. f5 is there as well. c5 is very interesting, except it doesn't bloody work. e5 is there. Yeah, let's open the diagonal. Rook b8 doesn't do anything. Right, Greek gift coming up. Check here, and then queen h5 just feels winning. But I'm not really sure. Right, check. Check. King has to come up. Maybe h6, and then f5 is blowing open. Right, we go for it. Looks winning. Check. King has to go back. Well, then it's mate in 2. Right. Level 2 done. Same position, guys. Same positions. Right, e5. e5, eh? Maybe knight e2 now. Keep it flexible. Then f4 coming up. That's an interesting one. Didn't expect that. Okay, we'll go bishop e3 this time. And then knight e2, I think. So totally different setup. And knight g3, I believe that's the point, isn't it? Then queen e2. And we're getting f4. This is going to be a bait, yeah. Alright, level 5 is understanding these positions. Going to go get an f4 somehow. Open it up. So I think I castle, then f4. Looks really strong. Yeah, let's go for it. And it's very similar to the Van Foreest game. Queen a4, f4. Come on. Is this my masterpiece? Oh my gosh, it's basically identical. If I take, and rook f6, it's basically crushing. Right, let's go for that. I think we should go rook f6. Oh, didn't expect that. Okay, if I take, and queen g4, maybe g6, queen g5, king h8, queen h6, rook g8. Ooh, jeez, messy, man. What a mess. Okay, I need to calculate now. Here, boom, 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 boom. Okay, but hang on. If I takes back, I'll get him off, and I'll get him off, and then queen h6. Yeah, that looks really good. I think this is winning. Even rook f6 is gorgeous as well. Oh, I feel like I think this is my Van Foreest game. It's almost the same game. Rook f6 looks gorgeous to me. Rook f6 it is. Right, now I think I take the knight. And coming in. I think it works, or I hope it works. I see. Right, knight h5 now. Yeah? Don't need to move the rook. What's up? Right, queen h6 game. Oh, that's my Van Foreest game. That's a beautiful note. That's so beautiful, right. I hope you've learned a lot and can apply this setup in your own games. Let me know how you get on. Do you enjoy this setup with white? Do you enjoy this dynamic way to play against the Nimzo-Indian? Let me know in the comments below.